Hey, it's me. Alright, man. Oh, we've got a new setup today. I've changed a few things. Should be a bit better than it was before. So we've moved the camera to a totally new spot. And, God, I've done a lot of stuff. I changed the filter in OBS because I've got a LUT that it runs. So I made a few changes to that. So it should look a little better. And I've made a lot of changes to the audio. Audio should be a lot better now. Right now, that fridge is running, but it shouldn't really be coming through on camera. Should be a bit more quiet, a bit more muffled. So we've got a few improvements. Oh man, I'll tell you what, today has not been a good day. I woke up with a huge migraine, and I don't know what caused it. Because like last night, just had chicken, dinner, like a roast chicken, ate my food, went to bed. Nothing wrong, right? And then I wake up with a splitting headache and it's just killing me. So I do what I usually do. It's usually three things, right? Like I'm either dehydrated, I'm hungry, or there's too much carbon monoxide in my room. So open the window, have something to drink, have breakfast. I did that. And I also took a Nurofen, and that it helped, but it didn't get rid of it. Like I can still feel it. It's not like spot on. Oh, like any enclosed space, like if you're just in there breathing, the CO2 will build up. Or CO will build up. So, yeah, like I don't sleep with my windows open, it's too cold. I have to have warm air. Like it's part of being an asthmatic is you need warm air. If it's too cold, it causes problems. Yeah, I had a shower before dinner, so I didn't really need another one. And for me, it doesn't really fix it. Like a bath or a shower. It's nice, but it doesn't get rid of the headache. I've heard they can help with sinus-related headaches. Sort of helps fix things in your head. But yeah, it took a long time before my head started feeling good. And yeah, I didn't really want to stream today. But I figured, hey man, we've had a pretty bad day. Let's just give it a crack. We'll see how we go. Yeah, you've got circulation. Yeah, that's good. Like all houses do, they all have vents, but yeah, I don't know. Like the only way I can really get good ventilation in my room is to open the window. And it's too cold to do that. Plus bugs come in. Like we've got fly screens on, but they're so small they get through the gaps. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Blood flow is always good. Airflow is always good. It's just the asthma, not so good. So, how do you like the new angle? Also, the camera is higher. It used to be like, so you see where it is now? It used to be like down here before, quite a bit lower. So I've got it, I could have it a little closer, but I kind of like where it is. And yeah, it's a little bit nicer. I kind of like the way it looks. Your extremities will contract. I never have that problem. I got good blood flow. I have like good blood flow to my feet and my hands. So I don't have an issue with that. But yeah, so that was one of the problems today. There was another problem that I won't go into, but I wasn't feeling good about it. So that's two problems. And then we had a national emergency test on our phones today. So the government sent out like a thing to all phones and set off an alarm. You know how like in Japan they have the earthquake ones? Kind of like that. So I was watching Luke stream and then that thing went off and I still had my headache and the phone is just full volume making this crazy noise I've never heard before. I'm like, oh God, I forgot to turn it off. And even if you turn the phone off, it'll still do it. When you turn it back on, the noise will still happen. And I'm thinking, like, this is the most stupid thing. Like, Australia is so big, there's no possibility of a national emergency. Nothing can happen all over Australia at the same time to warrant this. It's dumb. We don't need it. Like, something happens in Perth. It's happening in Perth, man. Ain't my problem. Happens in Queensland. Not my problem. Happens in Melbourne. Still not my problem. That's 100 k's away. I don't have to worry about that. So, yeah, that's... it was weird. And I don't even know why they did that, why they sent it out. But it seems to only affect phones with SIM cards. So my chat phone wasn't affected. Just my main phone, which happens to be incredibly loud. So that wasn't fun. But yeah, when I was feeling a bit better, I made a video. I don't even know if I can show the video from here. But I made a video of Pete's Uncharted 1 stream where he was playing a game. And he's like, every few seconds or every few minutes, he's like, hey, watch this. And then he'll do something. It either works or it fails. So I went through and I downloaded I got the whole VOD, right? And then I used I transcribed it in DaVinci. And this is the first project I've really edited in DaVinci. And it went well. So I transcribed it, and then I found every instance of watch this. And I went through and I clipped them all. I got rid of the crap ones, and I put all the good ones in, and I made a little compilation. So maybe I can bring that up. How can I get to that from here? Because this laptop's not logged in on the account where that is, and it's an unlisted video. So you need the link to be able to get it. Just let me see. Yeah, Resolve's good, man. I don't have a great video card for it or anything, but it runs good, runs fast enough for me. And editing, working on it is very similar to Premiere. I spent a lot of time setting up all the shortcuts, so they're quite similar. And I've got a few changes in there that are, you know, like I've got keys like 1 frame forward, 1 frame back. You can't do that in Premiere easily. You know, I think you have to use like the keyboard, the little arrow keys to do that. I like all into one spot. So I've made a whole bunch of changes and it's not too bad. I could see myself using it more to do edits and stuff. So that was a good starting point. Yeah. Yeah, there is a way to remap the shortcuts, but I don't know if they have 1 frame forwards, 1 frame back. I know you can do it with the scroll wheel. You can't do it with the scroll wheel in DaVinci, which is, yeah, there's little things like that that will trip me up. Yeah, I think you got to use the arrow keys. Now, let me see if I can find this video. I want to just play it on stream, so... You know what, I can probably get to it in Discord. Oops, do that one. It's probably going to ask me to log in or something, we'll see. Should be logged in. I'll see if it pops up. Because I posted it in Pete's... Ah, fuck. Yeah, I can't get to it from here. Maybe I can do it from here. If I just change account. We'll try. Let's see how this goes. I can try to do it through the laptop, but I don't think there's any easy way to do this. So switch account. I can get to it. All right, cool. All right, just give me a second. We're getting there. Oh yeah, you can't see me. It's still on the big screen. So yeah, this makes it a little easier. Where is it? Just go to... See, I can't even just go to like my channel to find it. I have to go to the studio, like the whole back end of YouTube to bring it up. But we're nearly there. God, it doesn't even show in like just the dashboard area. And it's the newest video. There it is. Alright. Hang on a sec. I'm gonna run this in a minute. Alright, we'll go home. Alright, cool. Just give me 1 sec. I'll bring you guys up on the big screen. You go. Oh shit, actually. I actually have to stream from the laptop, so we'll do that. But we'll go this one. We'll go over here. Does it work? Are we there? Come on, don't fail me now. Oh, it's doing something. Come on. There we go. Beautiful. Alright, let's bring back the chat. So yeah, this is like brand new video. It hasn't even been up very long. It's been up like maybe 2 hours, an hour tops. But I'll let it just talk for itself.
There's no way we can do a compilation of... You'd have to hire 75 tokens of Claude just so we could scrub all of the 8 hours of footage.
Also, this is the whole reason I did it, because he said this.
Terabytes alone.
He's presented me with a problem, and I'm like, I can fix that. I know how to do this. There's a way it can be done. So I went ahead and fixed it.
of me saying, hey, watch this. You just, there's not enough data available. Watch this.
I was gonna do all of them.
Watch this, 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 watch this. I just got word from the editors that the last watch this drive got full.
So I was kind of torn between, let's put everything in there or make it good. So kind of 50-50.
Watch this. Don't peek. Don't peek.
Oh, dude, that was loud. The alert was so loud.
Watch this shot. Ow. Hold.
My dude, he's playing on the controller, so not the easiest.
Watch this shot.
But it's still funny. This is good. Watch this.
No way. Now watch this shot.
He's not even there. He's just pulling
right.
straight to the head.
Aim it. Watch this. They won't see me if I go quick.
I had to figure out how to do text overlays in DaVinci. First time I've done it. Oh, they would have flipped out. Imagine being on a train when that shit went off.
Oh, no, he didn't die! He didn't die! How did he not die? Watch
He's
this
almost
shot.
dead already.
First, you move up here. You wait. No, I didn't mean to throw that yet. Watch this.
Where's Soviet Womble? I'll have to see how they've done it.
Watch this.
Yeah, train would be horrible. Or like you're stuck in an elevator with someone
I
and
missed.
that thing goes
Oh,
off.
shit. Watch this. He'll never be able to tank.
You're at the movies. There's gonna be all sorts of stories about it.
Watch this.
Yeah, you'd want to have like streamlined process to do it. Yeah, so when you search for the text, it even picks it up from like the NPCs.
Watch this headshot. Told you. Watch this headshot. Told you. Watch this headshot. Hits shoulder, gut, then head. Told you. Hey, guess what, Ron-san? Your ass got...
That would be hard
this.
to do, man. I reckon he's probably doing that manually.
Wait, it doesn't show me.
Or
I
he's checking the
passed
sound
Aaron
waveform,
X51.
and then he's just got like a predetermined like size that he'll use based on how high the waveform is, and like still manually drag it in and do that. But it'd be a lot of work.
Ages ago, it showed up on the screen, and you won't let me into the EKT, and yet here
Nick
I am
Minute.
efficiently killing everything. Watch this.
And this was the next
3, 2,
clip.
1,
There were no skips
bang.
between what he just said and then this bit, which makes it perfect. Watch this. Like, he comes across as like a
Watch
bit of a
this.
psychopath in this one.
3. Watch this.
This is such a cool game as well. Kind of sad I missed the whole PS3, Xbox 360
Shit,
generation.
wrong way. Okay. Wait. Oh, damn it.
Running out of excuses.
Okay, I didn't. Okay, that was. Watch
No, this is Uncharted. This is when PlayStation and Sony were at their prime.
How do you miss that jump? Watch this headshot.
I was actually watching a stream when this bit was going on.
Okay, those are my 2 warning shots. I'm not giving him a third.
He's really hesitating here.
Okay, he's not.
He's just fully pinned down. And after all that waiting, he still misses.
Watch this. The big chonker, when he comes in,
Boom.
insta kill. Watch this.
I saw that live on stream. I was just pissing myself laughing. Because that was the first watch this that I saw myself, and I'm like, oh, okay. I wonder how many more times he's going to do this.
Watch this shot. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, what happened? Ads?
Watch this.
Hang on. If we're gonna have ads, I'm just gonna pause it for a little bit. And yeah, we can come back to it in a bit. I don't know how to pause ads on this. Like, there's a button for it. That's like pause alerts. There's no way to like skip ads or anything, is there? I can play an ad, but yeah, hang on. We just gotta wait. Oh, hang on, I can just dismiss. Oh no, it's already started. Right. Alright, hang on. So we'll just wait. Which is a bit of a pain. That's one thing I've got to remember to do. When I've started up a stream, just run ads in the intro so they don't hit like within the first 30 minutes. Probably a good idea. I need to make that part of my whole like startup procedure. Alright, the little thing's gone. Let me know when the ads are over. If you can hear me. Probably not. Yeah, these ads kind of get in the way. I can see why people don't want to go affiliate. Like, you can just skip this whole process and just have uninterrupted stream, which is much nicer. Alright, I'm gonna assume the ads are over. You're back? We're all good? Yeah, let's roll. I'll even go back a little bit. Where's my audio?
Watch this shot.
Yeah, it's different for different people. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't.
1.
That was so bad.
Watch this.
How do you... I don't even know, like... That was painfully bad how he missed that shot. Like, slow moving target is like... The head is massive. How do you... Oh, man. Pure pain.
I hit his ear.
One,
Watch this. 3
one,
guys.
One.
Watch this. This is called the all bones in rush technique. You don't actually aim. You run past the grenade.
Yeah,
and go,
I was watching Streaming
Watch
University. I was watching Ludwig's stream. I got no ads the whole weekend. Not one ad. I'm like, what the hell? Now I do. Now I get ads. So I think there's like a grace, like a free grace period. And then once you exceed that, then they start pumping out the ads. And it's so you can... Maybe not. Because when you raid into people, you still get ads and shit. So I don't know. Maybe the bigger people, they get that advantage and the smaller ones don't.
Take the Smith & Wesson. Load up. Get ready. He's dead? Yep. Watch this, though.
I love how quickly his plans just fall to bits. Oh, this was bad.
I didn't do shit. Watch this shot, guys.
This was so
That
bad.
sniper.
Like the whole clip, just shooting at water, not the Spanish guy.
How the fuck did I miss when I was right there?
This is my
Watch
favorite
this
clip.
shot. Hey, asshole. There.
It's like twitching every shot. So just, it's lined up and then he shoots and moves it. Jesus.
That was my last bullet. That was the very last shot, and I had to go for a gut shot just to make sure. Watch this shot. Oh.
What is that? He's
Watch
like
this.
shooting in the air and still hitting the dude. It's like auto aim going crazy.
Okay. I didn't know I was
Oh,
going
this
to
is
kill
bad.
the guy outright in the back.
This is so bad.
Watch this.
Two in a row.
Watch.
So yeah, I had fun putting that together. I didn't just do it all today. It took a couple days. You know, I took a break. I got the main cut done. It just took a while to transcribe the footage. It honestly took like 2 hours for my computer to just go through and do all that. So that took a while. And even just downloading the VOD, that took a while. Oh shit, did I click the wrong thing? Go back. Yeah, that's the problem with this crap laptop. You make a mistake, you pay for it. Shut up, buddy.
Good morning, good afternoon, guys. Your boy Little.
Alright, hang on.
There's no way we can
Let's
do a
just take this slow.
compilation of...
We'll get
You'd
there.
have to-
I gotta pretend I'm like a boomer and just really take my time clicking the buttons. Alright, we want to go that one. And we're done! We've did it. Safely made it back. Yeah, dude, this laptop's a joke. It's like Intel what's it, like i5 5300U or some crap like that. Like it's ancient. Honestly, I had another laptop. It was a first gen i7. It was more powerful than this. But the GPU on my old one just died, so I can't use it. This thing's like, it'd be like maybe 10 years newer, and it's slower than the old laptop that I used to have. Yeah, 5th gen. My first gen laptop was faster. It was an i7 840, which was four cores, yeah, 8 threads, had, how much RAM did I have in it? I upgraded the RAM, I think it had like 16 gig of DDR3 in it, but the GPU in it was shit. It was an, was it HD 4750 or 4730 or something like that, or 5330, I don't know, some old Radeon card that sucks. And yeah, it just died. So, and it sucks because I just put more RAM in it, I just put an SSD in it, and then the GPU dies. I'm like, oh, what a waste of money. Oh, also I bought a new power supply for it. Can't use that anymore. Awesome. Yeah, it was an Asus. You can just permanently change that in your power settings in Windows 10. I don't know what it's like for the newer ones, like Windows 11 and stuff. Alright, we're back. I can get rid of this. So, hang on. I gotta get faster at doing this. There we go. We're back. Yeah, so eventually I'll get a faster laptop. This one's just, it works, but when it's streaming, like it chugs. Because it's got OBS running, and yeah, just built-in Intel GPU, it just can't handle it, it's too weak. Doesn't have the power. Yeah, there's ways to do it, it's just a pain. Minimum power state, that's weird. Because you can override all that, you can go in and just like tell it, look, use this profile, do this one. Or you can do like the extreme power, and you can just tell it, hey, 100% CPU all the time, don't worry about the battery, just max everything out. Sometimes it will thermally throttle, the newer ones, but, you know, unless you're putting a ton of load on it, shouldn't be doing that. It's just, yeah, laptops are a real compromise. Desktop? No, you just max it out and don't worry about it. Someone else's problem. Alright. So the next video is an American dude, and he does a lot of reactions to like or other cultures' content, but he's done a lot of Australian ones. So he's done like American reacts to Bathurst, or American reacts to Australian muscle cars and all that sort of stuff. And his stuff's really cool. So he's got one. Hang on, I've got to check that my thing's coming back. Oh, this is so tedious, man. I don't know. Desktop streamers have it too easy. Okay, is it going to reconnect? 17 seconds. See, I can just stop, start, and then it just reconnects instantly. Should be a bit quicker. There we go. Yeah, we're getting there, man. Like, you know how I've got this set up, right? Like, the laptop has OBS, and then it's just sending its stream to my desktop computer. And then my camera is running into the phone, and the phone's sending it to the computer. and then that computer mushes it all together and sends it out to the internet. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so this is Jay Walker. Yeah, his channel is, he's got some good stuff on it. He's actually a pretty interesting guy, and he's American, and he likes to react to a lot of Australian stuff. So I've seen a lot of his car reactions, like Bathurst and like our muscle cars and stuff like that. And I've actually forgotten what the title of this video is. Yeah, Americans confused in Australia for 17 minutes straight. So maybe I can clear up some cultural misunderstandings here. Let's see how it goes. Oh, that hurt to hear that.
Taking a look at Americans Confused in Australia.
He's got a nice stream setup too.
Is a good series. It's going to be fun. It's been
Walker, not Jay Walker, my bad.
Quite a long while since we have done one of these. So, shall we?
American living in Australia, and here are 3 Australian phrases that completely confused me the first time I heard them. The first phrase is "she'll
we
be
say that a lot.
Which I was
That's
like,
just
what?
like, don't worry about it. She'll be right. It'll be fine. Very easy to say. Like, I thought this is kind of spread across across the internet. I thought other people would have picked this one up by now.
I didn't know.
Who is she? This is one of my favorite ones. I had never heard this my whole life until, of course, you know, learning things on this channel. And I don't know how.
I think the Kiwis say it too.
Right? I've never heard anyone say anything like that. And when Aussies say it, it just sounds, I don't know, it sounds correct. Like, this is one no one else can really copy. Right?
What's going on? So it basically
I thought that would be kind of obvious.
It'll be all right. Everything's okay, or okay, fine, that sort of thing.
Pretty much, I think so.
I might be using it in the wrong context, but that's pretty much what it means. The second one, which really threw me, is sweet ass.
How do you not?
So that loosely translates to...
This is like from South Park. I don't know how other people don't understand this. Like, sweet, you know, they say that all the time on there, like at least the early seasons. And then sweet as, like, yeah, come on, that's an easy one to pick up. Yo, we got raided? Oh, Danny!
Sweet ass.
Welcome in.
I thought someone was complimenting
Sorry, I just got to quickly do a thing. We're gonna go to the big one. There we go. Welcome in. I don't even have to ask how your stream was. I saw how it was. It was pretty good. You know, killing a bunch of people in Grand Theft Auto, flying a helicopter with a busted camera. All turned out pretty decent. Yeah, that's it. The Ballad of Gay Tony. It's actually a really good DLC, that. But yeah, I've got a slightly revised setup. I've changed things around a little bit. So the camera, it's higher up. It's a little bit further away, and I'm using the original lens that I had on it, the 18-35 f1.8. And what else did I change? Yeah, it's in the middle now, instead of like off to the side. And there's a reason for that. So if I'm looking straight on, you can't see how fat my face is. So it works a lot better. Plus, like, I'm looking at the laptop, so I'm kind of like straight at the camera. I think this is a much better way to do it. But yeah, you haven't finished it yet, have you? There's still more to go. So yeah, we'll be checking out some more Grand Theft Autos, some more showing Chased how to drive correctly. Should be good. But yeah, like, I spun up my stream. I was saying before, like, today I had that migraine. Wasn't feeling really good after that. Like, I had it for a while. I've still got, like, a bit of a sore. I can still feel it. And then, yeah, the friggin' alarm, that wasn't good. That didn't help. And then there was some other stuff that happened, and I wasn't feeling too good for that. And I figured, hey, man, I always feel good after a stream. Like, yeah, I don't feel like it right now, but I know I'm going to feel better once it's done. So today's kind of like a test. It's like, you know how sometimes you watch people on stream and you can tell they're in a crap mood. They don't really want to be there. They don't really want to do it. They're not really putting their all into it. I want to see what it's like for me in that situation. So that's what I'm doing today. Plus, you know, I've got a new setup. I wanted to try things out. See how it goes. So, yeah, I'm sort of a bit out of breath at the moment. But yeah, I'm in 10.7. I'm one of Danny's mods. And yeah, I usually ride a bike. Today I'm on a treadmill in winter, basically. it's too cold for me to ride a bike. My asthma just won't let me do it. I'll probably die. So I got to stay inside, and this is a good way to get around that. But I usually ride around like a coastal town in Victoria. It's really nice. Nice scenery. Got the beach and stuff. But yeah, my alternative stream is to go inside, watch YouTube videos, react to them, turn them into like filmed, edited content and chuck that up on YouTube later on. And I'll probably have a couple other ideas I can try. I've got one. I wouldn't mind trying to do a complete playthrough of Donkey Kong Country 2 before my legs give out. So basically, can I get through that whole game in less than 2 hours? And I reckon I can do it. If I, not 100% it, just get to the end. I think it's possible. And maybe like put some punishments in there, like increase the speed every time I die, or like increase the elevation on the treadmill every time I die, or something like that. It's an idea I got to put a bit more forward into, but I want to start doing some stuff like that too. I think that'll be good. But that's only if the laptop can handle it. Laptop's kind of crap, so I've got to test it out and see how that goes. Sorry, I just had to catch my breath a little bit there. Anyway, we're going to jump back to the video. We're watching a video on Americans being confused by Australian culture for 17 minutes. So we'll check it out. Hang on, I've got to make sure this thing comes back. I've got to remember, every time I like change to the big view, like this OBS kind of takes a bit of time to come back. Oh, reconnection successful, is it there? Yes, there it is. Complete with the green bar. That shouldn't be there. But yeah, it'll catch up eventually. And there we go. So this is it. This is IW Rocker. He's an American guy, and he does a lot of reaction stuff to Australian cultural content. He's reacted to Bathurst. He's reacted to like a bunch of Aussie cars, a bunch of Aussie phrases and stuff. And now he's finding clips on TikTok, what it looks like, and he's checking them out as well. So as an Australian, I find this fascinating because I think in my entire life, in person, I've probably only come across like 2 or 3 Americans, for real, in Australia. Like, they're pretty rare. You hear them, the accent stands out. When someone speaks like an American here, like, you know, you're like, oh, yep, I know where you're from. But, yeah, quite rare.
I thought I was getting...
That'd be dangerous, but it plays.
Oh my God, bro.
Because all I heard was sweet ass, and I was like, wait, what? Last and certainly not least, this is
that's pretty,
the second one, but
pretty
it's
local
keen
to us.
ass, which means interested or very interested.
This is one I also never
keen.
heard until diving into Australia. Keen. It's not even just keen as. Like, you hear Ozzy say keen a lot, and I didn't fully understand it.
It's
first,
not a
right?
slang
Maybe
word,
I
though. Keen is like you're keen to do something. So again, this is kind of like a self-explanatory one. I would have thought people would just pick up and get it. Or maybe I'm in the wrong here. Maybe keen is not just a, like, I've just grown up with it, so I just think it's a normal word. Maybe it isn't. I'll have to consult the dictionary for that one, double check it. But I'm pretty sure you can be keen to do something, and it's just part of the English language, so everyone should sort of get that term.
Or you kind of get it.
Yeah,
right?
it kind of.
This one's cool.
Kind of get that feeling. Hey, he's a bit sheltered.
I don't hear people again outside of just Australians saying
keen
this,
as,
so this is
maybe,
very uniquely Australian.
Maybe when it's
as well.
combined, it does
At least
make sense.
I think it is. But this is a good one, right? Like, I actually like this one. It wouldn't sound natural for me to use it, but like in a different world, like I would use this. You know, it's cool.
Oh, I'm keen as. You know, you want to go to the store or you want to go to the park?
This dude would
That
not
sort of thing.
survive
So,
in a
anyway,
like a proper suburban town or like a country town where everyone's got the thick accent and everyone's speaking like that. He just would not understand what people are saying. You'd have to have like a translator with him to like go through it all. Oh yes, okay, that's what it means.
When I first heard that,
English,
I was like, what is that?
The
what
God's
language. Is
language.
that? So these are the phrases that really threw me the first time I heard them here, and I'll.
It's interesting the comments. Keen as is short.
Really?
For keen
I
as a
don't think
mustard,
so.
Which originated from Keen's mustard powder.
That doesn't seem
Is
right
that
to
real?
me.
Let's look that up.
Like, I know Keen's
Keen
makes a mustard, but I wouldn't think the term would come from it.
Images.
But then again, it's not like this sort of stuff is
over
documented
here.
really well either.
Keen, get keen as mustard. Maybe it did come from that. I don't know if that person's trolling or if they're on the money.
Also,
they might be on the money.
Americans
Keen's
are kind
mustard.
of...
This
like,
actually looks
America's
really good.
such a big country and there's so much to see. You can go your whole life without really leaving the country, without even needing to leave it. So I kind of get, like, where a lot of people are coming from. Like, yeah, there's other cultures in the world, but you got so much stuff and it's so close to you. Like, just check it out here. And it's not necessarily you're sheltered. It's just you're not branching out and checking out what the rest of the world has to offer, because what's in your backyard is so awesome. You can just check it out so easily.
Keen's mustard and Keen's curry powder. You guys will have to let me know. What's funny is like some of this looks like legit mustard.
Like powder. We usually get mustard in the Tommy jars.
Powder.
And you just keep the jars because they're glasses, and then
I feel like I'm blanking. I feel like I'm like, what would you use this for? Then again, I'm not a chef. My wife is. I'm not. So my knowledge on this stuff is not great.
Okay, things that are different. Australia.
You can fly locally without an ID. You're doing international travel, then you gotta have like passport and all that stuff. But locally, like I could probably just book a Jetstar flight, rock up. You can do the whole thing on your phone. You basically don't need ID. You just scan and go. Don't worry about it.
To fly, or like a driver's license.
Yeah.
Obviously
flying here, and I get it. Safety,
yeah, we're
security, but,
similar size, but most of
9/11.
the land that we have is just desert. So there's just no one living there. So we have a very low population density. Whereas in America, you've got a lot of farmland. The amount of like arid land is very low compared to where people can actually live. So you're just going to have more people, more stuff to do. You've got a much bigger variance of geography as well. Whereas Australia is quite consistent, kinda. Like down here, it's like you got bushland, and then you go towards the middle, and it's desert, and then you go up to Danny's corner, and it's like jungle, and that's what we've got. But the jungle stuff doesn't really start until you get like far north of like Surfers or like Brizzy. Once you get above the tropics, but the rest of it's like pretty similar. You know, like it's very easy to confuse Australia for New Zealand because it just looks the same. Although New Zealand have cooler mountains, we don't have those.
But it can be very annoying, and
population is nowhere near the same.
A lot of work. Trying to just take a simple flight.
Yeah, it does.
Even a domestic flight here in the U.S.
But it'd be
and it is what it is, and it keeps getting kind of.
You look at Google Street View of Rocky,
more.
and then you look at Google Street View like further down south towards like Brizzy, like it'd be very different. Different plants, like the greenness of everything would be different. And then like you keep going south, and then it turns into just like bush, like. The Blue Mountains in New South Wales, like, looks the same as the Grampians in Victoria. It's all just the same stuff. Because they're not really that far away from each other. It's like, what, 1,000 Ks? Like, your plants and stuff aren't going to change that much in 1,000 Ks.
And more stuff every few years that you got to do.
We're like 27 million now?
That was never a thing. So, I don't know. It is, it could be a little bit annoying. And then hearing that you can fly like pretty nonchalantly.
I think Australia's population is about...
That's refreshing.
About 27, 28 million. But we've had like a huge immigration wave in the last few years to like really push those numbers up. So before that, we were kind of sitting at around 25 million. So yeah, like big country, not a lot of people. Lots of resources. Not much to do with it. We just dig it out of the ground, send it off to another country.
check your ID to make sure that your name is the person flying. In Australia, you could just rock up with your boarding pass. My boarding pass could say Tom.
Oh, also, we don't have to take our shoes off to get on the plane either. We don't have to worry about any of that shit. Oh no, wait, maybe they've changed that. I don't think we have to take our shoes off, but they make you take like your belt off, your phone, your wallet, your keys, and you go through this like X-ray scanner thing now, so that's different. We didn't have that not that long ago. That's a new thing that they brought in. It's kind of a pain. I don't really think it's necessary. We haven't had any attacks, airplane related. So, yeah, kind of overkill.
on these flights. You could fly Cairns to Sydney and it didn't check any form of ID. Nothing.
Damn. That's
There's no
wild.
street signs. I try not to use maps because I've lived there for 7 months. However, you're trying to go and the street signs are like this big in the corner. So does no one use street signs?
Nah, that's
Trying to
just
figure
where
out
she
which
is.
street
We
I'm
have
on,
street
there's
signs
no
everywhere.
street sign.
I used to do
The
pizza
stoplights
deliveries,
don't have
and
street signs.
yeah, you rely on the street signs. I didn't have a map or I didn't have like a Google Maps or anything like that. Like I did that. When did I do that? Like 2004 to like, I don't know, 2011. So I just used like an actual book, like a Melways, like a literal book just with maps of all the suburbs in it. And just remember and like go like that. But yeah, like street signs everywhere. Like they're quite common here and they're legible too.
Okay, I was a little confused. I thought she meant just like signs in general, like for any purpose on the street. Obviously, y'all have those.
I've never done that biohazard map
names,
thing,
like
but I haven't been to any
actual signs
places
show a
like
street
that.
Name, like, you know, Callaway Avenue or North Street or Main Street. I think that's what she's talking about. And she's acting
I can show you how big our street signs are. They're kind of like
area, or if that
maybe about that
real?
tall. These are like the name street, like David Street or like Genis Crescent or something like that. They'll be about that tall and they'll be kind of like, you know, depending on how long it is, but about that wide. They're definitely legible. Like you can see it from far enough away that you know, okay, that's where I need to go.
Are y'all street
Again,
signs
you can just go Google
too small
Google
to
Maps
read?
and
I
Street
don't
View
know
and check
if
it
I
out.
believe that one. That sounds bizarre. Like maybe she didn't experience this correctly.
Tassie.
Things that confuse me as an American in Australia, Tasmania edition. Overcooked burgers, they never take a temperature.
That's how you meant to cook it, right?
It's always cooked.
Who wants like a
through
medium rare
completely.
burger?
Sorry, I don't
Yeah,
understand.
in America,
I
you
don't
guys have a
get
lot
it.
of like
Glass.
high fructose
Okay,
corn
those are
syrup
cool.
as your sweeteners for drinks, whereas we just use sugar here. And I think it's because it's subsidized so heavily by your government that it's cheaper to do, so they just use it. Whereas over here, just sugar. And I think they're right. It tastes better. Just have actual, like a real sugar, not some concoction of chemicals.
Those bottles of Pepsi are actually really freaking cool. I always go through this. Like, I wish we had our
To be fair,
soda,
you can get
our pop, as we call
like
it. in
we get a
Midwest,
lot of soft drinks in just
in
plastic bottles
glass.
too.
I love it.
The glass ones aren't that common. It's definitely more common to have the plastic 600 mils, or like the 400 mils, or like a can of 375 mil, or even the 330 mil ones.
Right now, luckily, I can buy Mexican Cokes and stuff. They come in glass, but they're still not always
it's just
available,
too cheap
right?
not to
Like,
use.
We use too much plastic here, and otherwise aluminum cans or aluminium. I think this is a really cool looking glass of Pepsi. Wow. And of course it's made with sugar, not corn syrup. Yeah. That's a big one.
Isn't that just like
Giant
a thing from the ocean?
seashells. Those are awesome.
Yeah, I hate these Huntsmans.
Yeah. Nice to know that
And they
even
get
Tasmania
bigger than your hand.
has those.
And
Wonderful.
then in Queensland, there's those bird-eating spiders that are they're like this big. Like, no, don't want anything to do with that. The Huntsmans they're not poisonous, but they're just big, they're fast, and they're horrible. And they like to hide in the door jambs of your car, or under the little, like the sun visors. And then when you get in the car, they'll like run across the window and stuff. Like I hate them. They're horrible.
Experiencing this in real time as an American in Oz. What's it gonna be?
Yeah, that's common. Especially at Centrelink.
Bare feet? Yeah, I mean, bare feet in public really isn't a thing here. I get it. But to act like, this... it's a little...
It's more common
bit of an
around beach
overreaction.
areas.
Come on.
But you go into the suburbs and stuff, you'll see people going to the shops just barefoot as well. It's not fully accepted. Like, you see someone doing that and you think, yeah, they're probably a bogan. They're probably don't really care. Don't give two shits about their own, how people perceive them and stuff like that. Most people will chuck shoes on. But yeah, you do get people that they go barefoot everywhere. And I don't understand why. Like, your feet get filthy, and they're hard to clean, and there's, like, the ground is not clean. There's crap everywhere. There's, like, broken glass. You're probably going to step on something, get an infection. It's just not worth it. Just chuck some shoes on. Chuck some sandals on. Chuck some thongs on. You'll be fine. Flip-flops for you Americans.
It's not the end of the world. You know, if they want to do it, let them do it. It's normal down there. Whatever.
Number one question that people ask me as an American living in Australia is if I experience any culture shocks. And there are a few here and there, but the only one that really affects me every day is etiquette.
We do.
I feel like Australians still have a little bit of the British etiquette, and Americans
That's
just
not
tend to be
true.
loud
I've
and
heard,
rude.
you know,
There are
Americans are
also small
loud but
things where
friendly. I wouldn't
realize-
say rude. Rude is like when you just don't give a shit how you're affecting the people around you. Americans are just loud and friendly for the most part. Australians, yeah, they can be loud. They're usually, I don't know, not overly friendly. Like, it'll take a while for people to warm up to you. But you'll get the occasional person who just wants to have a chat. They just want to yap.
That other people are taking it as rude. For example, in the movie theater, if you see a movie in the US, everyone has their phones out. You see
Yeah, this
little
is changing.
screens. But it doesn't, in my opinion,
I've
really
been to the
affect
movies
other
plenty, and yeah,
viewers'
there's people
experience.
that'll just be like bored watching something else on their phone while the movie's going. But this is something that's generational. Like 10 years ago, it wasn't that common. Now it's getting worse and worse. And I blame short form content for that because no one has the ability to focus on anything long term anymore.
Opinion really affect other viewers' experiences.
I don't think this is an Australian thing. I think this is global.
Gen Z thing?
It's a technology-derived behavior.
It is not just accepted or acceptable or a good thing to be taking your phone out all the time in the theater here. No.
Oh, well,
like, even
the
in the
old
US,
country guys have probably, like, destroyed their
good
ears
etiquette.
over the years. They probably don't have much hearing left, you know, from just working with power tools their entire lives and farm equipment and all that. So, naturally, they're going to be talking a bit louder than usual, just so people can hear them. But the average person, they're pretty, I wouldn't say softly spoken, but Aussies generally speak quite confidently to one another, quite friendly, you know. There's a lot of, like, what would you call it? Like, they tried to call it, like, mate shit, but it's just, like, you can talk to someone and know they're not going to, like, rip your head off. There's no, like, you don't approach people with, like, the fear of hostility coming back at you. Although, that's probably changing now.
At all.
Oh, Pete's,
Gonna piss everyone
his voice
off.
is up there.
At least in my experience, I never. Yeah,
I
would
saw
take
his
out the phone
Sumimasen.
in an emergency or to like
That was
maybe
insane.
check
That's
the
just-
time.
everyone
once or
shut
twice
up.
the whole movie, and I'm doing it for 1 second. I look at the time and I put it away. Right, like I'm not taking my phone
Yeah,
out
like you're
and
paying
scrolling through my phone. in the
30,
theater,
40
like,
bucks
what's
to
the
go to the
point,
movies.
Right, do that at home. I'm sorry, she missed that one. She missed me on
in
that one.
Australia, people think it's distracting to have the little screens light
It
up in the
is.
theater.
It
so
is.
a random person will ask you to leave if you have your phone out. Another one on public transport.
Rightfully
Sometimes
so.
I'm in a hurry and I really need to get somewhere, and everyone else is just slowly, politely waiting
That's
for the
'cause
next
you're
person to
selfish.
go. And sometimes I'm just like have no patience, and I know it can be taken as rude, but it's like I don't have time to like sit here and like watch you slowly
That's
get up. But
that's
I
a
know
her
I'm in the
problem. Like,
wrong
if you're in a
line,
hurry,
I need to
don't let
slow
other people
down,
box you in.
and,
Just
yeah.
stand up near the door. As soon as the door's open, bam, you're off doing your thing. You don't have to worry about other people. That's her failure to plan ahead.
But
Wow.
little things like that here and there, which would be fine in the US, are not okay in Australia.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
leave
he doesn't
that
want to
one
put her on
alone.
blast.
I'll let you guys handle the comments about this one. Yeah, look, etiquette in Australia and U.S. certainly can be different, and I'm sure it is on many different fronts, but not the ones she mentioned.
people
Some
are in a
things
rush,
just
man.
Rude
But also,
because it's rude.
it's another.
And they're rude.
It's like failure to plan ahead. So obviously, oh no, I'm not going to get there on time. Well, that's because you didn't leave early enough. You know, like you should have left a good 10, 15 minutes earlier. Give yourself that buffer room. But a lot of people don't do that, you know. Or there'll be traffic or something happens and then, everything's shifted back and they're delayed and frustrated. But that's just one of the things about living in a big city. That's, they're a pressure cooker. They just make everyone stressed because you've got to deal with problems like that. I'd say the further out from the city you get, the less of a problem that is. People that, you know, you're not losing time to other people so much because of the population density. You can just go somewhere, chill, get your stuff done. No one's going to hold you up. You can just, it's less stressful, it's better. So country towns too, I haven't seen it out here.
Let me show you my grocery haul. I recently said that finding grocery pickup has changed my life.
Is that a Safeway bag?
How it's changed my life. I don't
it's a Woolies
understand
one.
The metric system. I don't understand.
Oh no, what she bought.
Shoot. Is this
is
going to
be
like,
good.
She doesn't understand the metric system. Okay, this ought to be good.
It's like 10 kilos of cheese.
And it's going to be wrong or shocking.
And she would have got this online as well.
That's going to be like super small.
That seems like a good guess. Well, I just wanted to order ice cream.
Oh, that's just a 4-liter tub.
A little dessert tonight.
Is it like
5-liter tub?
Small?
I'm hosting an ice cream social tonight.
At least she got vanilla rather than Neapolitan because everyone's just going to eat the chocolate and the vanilla and leave the strawberry. So she made a good mistake. Mind you, that's about a gallon
dude.
by the Yank measurements. It's probably a 4-liter tub, so yeah, just over a gallon of ice cream there. Which is, you know, fairly reasonable amount for like a family to go through.
A bigger tub of ice cream than
nah, you go to Costco.
Ever find here in the U.S. Like, I'm sure there's really
you'll get bigger stuff at
tubs
Costco
of ice
for
cream
sure.
that maybe I'm just not seeing all the time here. Like, I'm sure they are available here, but this particular like shape. And,
yeah, that's standard though. Peter's ice creams used to come like that. So this is sort of like the budget cheapest ice cream you can get. You get the most value, I guess, out of it. So it's about 4 liters, usually a 4-liter tub. I don't really see 5-liter ones that often. And then the more premium ones will be sort of like a 2-liter tub. Still the same shape, just a little bit smaller. And then the really nice ones, they come in like, they sort of like, how would you even describe it? It's just like a little container. It's round and it like goes up and it's got the lid on top, kind of like the Ben & Jerry's ones. And they're nice. And they're about a 1-liter. So if you ever come here, try the connoisseur ice creams from Woolies and Coles. And yeah, they're good. That's the best stuff.
Yeah, I've never seen a tub of ice cream that big here.
On the app, it looks the same as a personal
4-liter
ice cream. See how many liters?
That's home brand as well. She got the cheap, nasty stuff.
I mean,
so home brand is the brand sold by the supermarket themselves. So it's the cheapest one, very little branding. Usually low quality. It's nowhere near as nice as the branded stuff. So you'd want like Peter's or Buller or Connoisseur or something like that. But yeah, she's got 4 liters of crap ice cream to get through. So good luck.
Remember, a lot of our food here in the U.S. does come in metric. Like,
yeah, it's horrible that stuff, isn't it?
You know, even though we're not a metric country and we're like basically one of the only ones, we do have metric here in certain things. Food being one of them.
Yeah, grams.
A lot of the
and
food
like
and nutrition facts is measured in metric stuff. So, you know,
and you measure your car engines in liters.
Or love soda here in the U.S., right? Well, they sell Coca-Cola and Pepsi in 2-liter bottles, and 2-liter bottles are pretty big. So she should know 4 liters would be huge, because 2-liter bottles of Coke are big.
She knows now.
I don't know what liters are, okay? But apparently,
come on. That's funny.
Oh, it's not even using real milk anymore. I'd believe that. I'd imagine they've cheaped out on their ingredients and made it way worse. I'll never eat that stuff. It's just, yeah, you're asking for problems if you eat the cheap stuff. Just spend a little more, get the nice stuff, and you don't have to worry about it. Nicer ice cream is worth the extra cost. Yeah, that's a kitchen.
Like
it's got a little island in the middle.
I can't tell what's going on here. It's kind of cool, actually. I wish I got more, like, footage of different apartments and houses in different countries, especially, like, Australia. Because, I don't know. They're just
it's a little over 1.
Googling how much
3.8
4 liters of gallons
is
too
a gallon.
much for the average American. How'd you know?
things in my Australian house that would totally confuse Americans. If you're American, blind duet or comment your answers, and if you're Australian, don't ruin it. Let's play. Gonna start you out really easy. Yes, I know this is a plug,
what the hell is he talking
what
about?
are these little doohickeys for?
Okay, that's a plug. That's pretty standard.
Yes,
they don't all look like this. Plus, this one isn't even mounted flat. Like, it's not properly horizontal. Look at the tiles, and then this thing's just bent. So I think they've put like a cover over it.
The plug, but what are these little doohickeys for?
What does he mean by doohickey?
Well, those...
That's just on-off.
The safety
and then you've
switches.
got, like, what? Active, neutral, and earth. They're your 3 plugs. So that's, this is standard. They're everywhere. And we've got one of the best plug designs on the planet. Because ours was designed quite a bit later than the rest of the world. So we learned from their mistakes and designed, like, a pretty good system. Although Japan have a pretty good one too. They don't need an earth. They've figured out some safe way of doing it with just 2 plugs. But yeah, I don't know. I like ours. It's idiot-proof too. You can only plug it in one way. So you're not going to have any problems there.
I only knew that because of this channel. I'm not going to act like I would have just magically known that. I actually envy this. I think this is cool. I can realize how it could be a pain, especially for people that aren't used to these, like Americans.
I think there's other countries that use our design as well.
This is superior. I like it. The fact that
that's crazy.
Outlets are
ours are
live
not live all the
kind
time.
of
You flick the switch, there's a physical
sound.
thing that just disconnects it, and you're safe. It's only active when this is on, and then you've got a closed circuit between it.
Safe.
Yeah, 240 volts and 10 amps per plug.
In while this
so
is
this would get
no
20
issues,
amps, you'll get 10 amps to each side. So 2.4 kilowatts out of this and 2.4 out of that. But probably 2.4 kilowatts across the whole thing. I don't think you could pull 4.8 across that. The cables aren't gauged for that. And the fuses and circuit breakers, they wouldn't be set up for that.
Have these flipped off at all times?
Yeah, it's similar.
Is awesome.
1.8, 2.4, it's not a big difference.
I think it's cool.
Really easy. Yes, I know this is
Alright, what the hell is that?
What are these little doohickeys
This is for a toilet?
A little more difficult, the more observant.
Yeah, big and small flush. Simple.
But
yeah, clearly.
Is this guy just playing stupid? That he doesn't understand how a toilet flusher works?
I don't know what these buttons are for. Are they flush buttons? But
yeah, that's a house.
Is this
you can see the bathtub in the reflection.
Did he say he's in a house? Because I picture
Hell no.
in a
the public
nice
ones are shit. They're like from 30 years ago.
Not in a
this
house.
Is way too clean and way too nice to be anywhere public. Yeah, you'd need a different circuit for each.
Is there what? Why is that there?
I don't know.
We're headed outside now to the patio, and
what plastic?
Are those
what is he talking about on the
plastic?
Yeah, he's either talking about this, which is just like mesh wire that you can roll down to give you a bit of shade, or maybe he's talking about all the leaves and stuff up here. This is meant to be cleaned up. Like, obviously there's a tree above it, and it's dropped all its leaves and stuff on it, and it's kind of covering the skylight up a bit. I think this guy's just pretending to be an idiot for content. Wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know. What are these? Is this just like some sort of barrier that you roll down?
That's a floor mat.
What for? It's probably something really easy.
Trickier. What is this?
Yeah, it's a floor mat. You just wipe your feet on it.
What the hell?
Go into a house. He's just framed it so you can't tell what it is, but it's obvious from the context of where you put it.
Come on. What is this?
Is this
a painting? I don't know.
40.
Back outside.
All right,
I want you to
I can do this
into miles an hour.
So 40 divided by 1.6. You take 50% off. No, I usually do the other way. I usually go 1.6 up. I would have to say it's probably like 24. Oh no, it's just 6 times. Yeah, 24 miles an hour is 40 Ks. And 40 Ks is for usually school zones. It's quite rare to have them anywhere else. They're usually just like high traffic, low visibility areas, or areas where there's schools and children that can just run on the road and have problems. And then underneath, you've got no standing off to the left, and off to the right, you can park for, was it like 15 minutes or half an hour between certain time zones. I mean, that's fairly easy to read and understand that. Yeah, 0.6 miles to a kilometre.
Kilometers per hour.
Or
is 1.6
k's to a mile.
Let's see, 100 kilometers per hour is 62 miles per hour. 40 kilometers per hour.
Oh, you were so close.
Probably only like
24, mate.
22 miles per hour. That's a slow street. Usually slow neighborhood streets.
Well, ours used to be, when I was little,
30
like
miles per
60
hour.
was the slowest.
Sometimes-
Residential areas were 60 kilometres an hour. And then they dropped it to 50. And then they brought in 40 for school zones, but it was only during certain hours. Although where I live, they made it all the time because they jumped the gun. And now they're pushing for 40 in all residential areas, which I think is stupid. But cars are safer. They're safer if you get hit. They've got better detection. There's no need to slow it down. People aren't getting mowed down in residential areas. There's no point. Yo, Viceroy, how you doing, man? Yeah, we have speed limits.
Rarely you'll see a really slow one that's 25 miles per hour.
I'll run you through them.
I've never seen anything
So 40
below that.
for
40 kilometers per
like
hour.
school
feels
zones
like
and
that's pretty
some
slow.
residential areas. 50 most residential areas. 60 is if you don't have a house attached to the road. There's like a side road or something. Then you can have a 60. And then sort of like 70, 80 main roads, 90, 100 highways, and 110 for fairly rural highways between large cities. And then we used to have nearly unlimited between Alice Springs and Darwin, but they got rid of it because people just kept crashing their cars or weren't being responsible. I mean, it's unlimited speed on one of the worst roads in the world. Like, you're just asking for bombs. It's not like the Autobahn where they maintain it. It's pristine and nice. No, this is shit Australian roads. Aluminium.
And a bit more translation to wrap things up. Translate these into American. Aluminium foil.
Aluminum
Bicarbonate soda.
Bicarb soda.
Bicarb
It's like,
soda.
yeah, baking soda. It's just the fizzy one.
Assume
the one that you put in cakes by mistake that ruins them.
Soda?
Yeah, 80 miles an hour would be
brand
nice.
and
That's fast.
Sultana brand.
We don't have that.
Bicarb soda. Sultana.
Also, we
Sultana
should
brand.
have
That's
higher
gotta
speed
be,
limits
like,
because to get from
brand.
city to city is so damn far away. Like, you could jack up the speed to like 120 k's an hour. It would be perfectly safe. The speed limits in this country were set, I believe, in the 60s or 50s, based on car technology at the time. Obviously, 70 years later, things are a little better. Cars handle a little better, they're a bit safer. The tech is there, so we could jack up our speed limits. To counter that, the quality of driving in this country has gone off a cliff since, like, well, I'd say 2015, and it's only getting worse. So I don't trust a lot of crappy drivers to go faster. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, we could have nice things, but also, no, we're not allowed to have nice things.
Flakes? In the US? Not sure.
The Panadol is just
Panadol.
the brand name
Panadol
for, what do you guys
tablets.
call it? It's the one that fixes headaches. I should know this. Like, Hedonol is like the cheap home brand version that's like doesn't cost anywhere near as much as Panadol. Paracetamol, that's what you guys call it.
Active on pain. That's gotta just be like
I believe
ibuprofen.
ibuprofen is
Or,
closer to Nurofen, which I took this morning.
Oh my god. what's the
Ibuprofen's
other
more
one?
like a muscle
Aspirin.
relaxant.
Like aspirin? Ibuprofen? Right? I'm gonna cut it there.
Tylenol,
I'm
yeah.
confused.
Tylenol
That
would be the
last
same
one was
as
good. We need more like that.
Panadol.
We need more like that. I like that. Where you just show random things and you gotta guess, like, what is this? Right? I can't wait to look at the comments on this because you guys gotta help me out. I know you're gonna help me out on this one. Very interesting stuff.
Like I was saying, you don't see
Confused
many Americans
in
here.
Australia. How fun of a topic
You
is
guys
that?
are
It's
a
one of my
rare
favorites.
breed in this country.
And it left me confused, so now
Generally
I'm one
stick
of
to
them.
the cities.
I appreciate you watching. I hope you're doing awesome. And, well, hopefully I'll see you in another one of these.
Respect to this guy, he does a good
My name
job.
is Ian, you watch Side Double Rocker. Until next time, I'll catch you later.
So he's a pretty solid reaction content creator. I'm going to share his video, just so if you want to check out his channel. He's got some cool stuff about like Australian motorsport in there too, so you might enjoy it. How do I share this? Hang on, boomer moment. Goes in here. You just paste it in here, hit the enter button, and it goes through the internet to the chat. There we go. So yeah, check some of his videos out. He's got heaps of cool shit. But what is my next video? I can't remember. We'll find out. Oh, he doesn't have like a big outro, does he? Come on. There we go. I might have to... Why is this one so far ahead? Hold up. We're going back to the home. Alright, so why cars peaked in the 90s. That's an interesting observation. I wouldn't say they peaked in the 90s. I would say they peaked in the early 2000s. That's sort of, after that, like all the electronic limitations and like driving aids started to infest cars and ruin them. But the 90s, they were still developing and making them better. I guess it depends by manufacturer. Early 90s? Nah, man. The chassis rigidity in the early 90s was trash. Like, people put Silvias, like S13s and 180SXs on this pedestal as like this amazing handling car. Nah, they suck. They understeer from factory. The chassis is very, like, loose. You can feel it. You can feel the difference between a car from the early 90s and the late 90s. And you can feel the difference between, like, I'm talking chassis rigidity specifically, between a car from the late 90s and the early, like, 2010s. Like, there's a big difference. Like, I noticed it a lot, even just with my car. Like a 1980s Corolla, and then you drive anything newer and you can feel the chassis a lot tighter and nicer, and there's not as much delay when you turn into a corner between the chassis reacts. It just stands out. So I wouldn't say the 90s were peak. I would say maybe engine tech in the 90s was pretty damn good because they over-engineered the hell out of a lot of stuff, specifically the Japanese. But yeah, things did improve, but the improvements post-2000s were mostly electronic. You know, like the engines got a little bit of a bump, but they sort of reined in the power figures in favour of economy. And then, yeah, they sort of really focused on safety, which drove up the weight and kind of just sucked the fun out of a lot of cars. But anyway, let's see what this guy has to say.
It's no secret I'm a fan of cars from the 1950s and the 1960s,
Why?
particularly British sports cars. I'm going to keep pretending this isn't because they're
not
the only cool cars from this era that I can afford. That's not the reason, guys. Anyways, the Brits were busy at this time perfecting the Roadster formula, a formula that would heavily influence the cars we're talking about today. These British sports cars had a sense of style and character and simplicity that would rarely be replicated in the following decades, while mostly existing for regular people.
You compare those sports cars of the 60s to just a regular car of the 60s, like a Mark II Jag or something like that. They're not nice cars. They got a lot of problems, like really archaic suspension, pretty bad engineering in terms of being able to work on the cars in a lot of cases. They were still trying things out, still trying to get the formula for a car down. Like interiors would be very different between manufacturers, whereas these days are quite standardized. Like we know what's good, what's good ergonomics. Back then, they was just still throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what stuck.
Was simple to work on and fun to drive. Most of them were pretty much parts bin specials, and the quality and sophistication just wasn't going to match what was coming out of the East, and so most of the British automotive industry died when the Japanese manufacturers came to town with their own sports cars.
The Japanese absolutely crushed the British sports car market. Because look what they'd done. The Japanese adopted twin cam fuel-injected technology. They got on that as early as possible. They adopted independent rear suspension quite early. They adopted like good like power steering rack and pinion setups. And they really put a focus on reliability. Like cars went from being, you know, like in the 60s and 70s, if you had a car, you just expected it to break down at some point. And then later on, Honda came out and really put a big emphasis on reliability. And then you also had Toyota and the other brands. And then those cars, like people, they knew, like you could buy a Toyota, run it into the ground, and it would just keep going. You wouldn't have a problem. They over-engineered everything in them. Whereas other countries, I don't know why they didn't do it, like maybe it was a cost-cutting thing. Maybe they just didn't care. Maybe it was like, okay, planned obsolescence. If our car crapped itself after 10 years, customers got to buy another car from us. Well, no, the customer's got to buy a Japanese car and run that thing forever.
And free in terms of design as the 1960s were. As a whole, I think there's another decade worth taking a closer look at from really every corner of the market.
300
In my opinion,
ZX.
this is the decade where cars of
Hey,
almost
did you
every
see that?
kind and really
Look.
car culture as a whole truly peaked.
That
I'm
one!
talking
It's the
almost
But It
every
Plays
kind
car.
And really car
This
culture
one
as a
is
whole.
all one colour. Hasn't got boxes hanging out the side. And all of its interior trim is in one piece.
Truly peaked. I'm talking about the 1990s. For the most part, the 90s was a good time. I was recently suggested this home video of a dad playing guitar with his family, and this was in the 90s, and you can just tell this was a good time to be alive. This was the decade that brought us
Friends was not a good show.
and
Like, I know it was
Titanic
popular,
and Die Hard
but it
with
was
a Vengeance.
not a good show. It was very formulaic and kind of boring. It was like a friggin' sitcom.
It was the end of the Cold War and the dawn of
Guy I
things
used
like
to
the
work
internet.
with.
This was the
where
decade
is
I
it?
was
Where's
born
the
as
internet
well.
one?
I grew up.
Damn it. Yeah, that. He'd have that as like his
I grew up
MSN
playing
profile
things like
picture.
basic things like the
What
internet.
was his name? It was like Damien. Yeah, Damien had that. Just reminded me instantly of him because it was just such like the early, like when dial-up internet was just becoming a thing and they're trying to like market it and push it towards all these baby boomers and stuff so they understand what it is. And like some of the artwork that they had of that era is just hilarious. And this is one of the better ones. Surfing the web.
This was the decade I was born as well. I grew up playing things like baseball in the front yard and whatever the heck we're doing
See,
here.
2 liters.
Oh, and we
You've
used
got
to
them.
sword
This guy
fight
proved
with
it.
empty 2-liter bottles. And my personal favorite, riding the recently banned 3-wheelers. If you weren't a small child like me, though, it was a good time to be a car enthusiast of really any kind. Don't worry, guys, we will talk about trucks. The 70s and
I don't know.
80s had been tough
The
decades
80s
for
had a
automotive
lot of cool stuff as well. The
manufacturers.
80s was the
Stiffening safety and
advent,
emissions
sort of like the last big advancement in car tech. So in the 80s, like double overhead cams became a thing. You had fuel injection, you know, they nailed it. They figured that stuff out. Cars started getting good power steering systems that could keep up with the inputs from the drivers. And in the 90s, they sort of further refined things, but you had like various different types of IRS setups, and you had like variable valve timing for some of the engines, but like variable valve timing doesn't make a big difference to an engine. Like you just slap in an aggressive cam and get the same thing. You know, it's more fuel economical to have that. You get the best of both worlds effectively. But beyond that, like, what were the big advancements in the 90s in terms of like cars, technology-wise? It was mostly safety stuff. It was like ABS, it was airbags, it was more rigid chassis, like better designed cars so that they crumple and protect the driver better. None of those things really enhance the drive and the feel and the fun of a car though.
Regulations had forced companies to get creative if they wanted to make fast, powerful, fun vehicles of really any
So
kind.
boxy.
We saw new technologies become more common and just better. Things like fuel injection and turbochargers. As much as these new regulations killed much of that wonderful spirit of automotive design from the 50s and 60s, by the 1990s, these growing pains were mostly
He's right.
over.
The
And
regulations
manufacturers were
really
once
reined
again
in what
poised to make
designers and
awesome
developers
vehicles
could do.
again.
And this is in the 90s, right? So you add another 30 years on that, and the designers and manufacturers are so restricted in what they can build now. Nothing has a personality anymore. Nothing has an identity anymore. Every SUV looks the same. There's no room to breathe. There's no room to experiment or do anything anymore.
And so the 90s was a decade of really innovation on almost every front. The 90s was a sort of middle ground between the older era of classic cars and what we would consider modern cars with modern amenities. This might seem like a bad thing.
Is that a Ford Taurus? Those things were hideous.
Apple CarPlay and navigation and backup cameras, but for the most part it was actually a good thing, especially when it comes to reliability. Cars from most manufacturers were getting more reliable at this point, but I do want to highlight Honda and Toyota specifically because this really was the decade that made Honda and Toyota into the juggernauts that they are, and reliability was a huge part of that. But man, Honda and Toyota were killing it at this time because they were over-engineering their passenger cars and really all of their vehicles to such an extent that while they made an even bigger name for themselves,
that's another thing too.
To making the used market,
because the cars were built so well, like the used market expanded. There were more cars that people were willing to take on just because they knew, okay, well, it's fairly reliable. And the person who originally had it just wanted to move on to something else. Whereas before that, yeah, there was a used car market, but you had to get your hands dirty and you had to fix things, and you knew you were going to have problems buying like someone else's car that's been run through the ringer and it just wasn't designed to last that long.
Easily go to 200, 300, 400,000 miles if maintained properly, or if not maintained properly. What Honda accomplished with motorcycles in the late 60s and 70s is kind of what they did with cars in the late 80s and 90s. On top of that, a Corolla or Camry or Civic or Accord from the 90s still kind of had an old school simplicity to it.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
Made them so
cars in the
to
90s,
and thus
you could buy brand new cars
maintain.
and they wouldn't have power windows. You wouldn't get power mirrors. There was a lot of stuff you just didn't get. They cut corners on, especially over here in Australia. They really spec'd down a lot of the cars just to keep the costs low. And then you look at the Japan exclusive models, the trim specs we didn't get, and they had some really cool stuff that just was never an option here. We missed out. And then the Kiwis, because they were importing all these cars, they got all the cool stuff. We never got it. They got the high spec, high trim models that we just missed out on.
And this is why a boring sedan from the 90s, especially the early 90s, in decent shape with reasonable
if
miles,
it's clean,
can
that one
easily go
isn't
for over $10,000 today. And this is also why most so-called beater cars are from the 90s. Most cars throughout history haven't been able to last as long as these to even earn the status of beater. Now, in the 90s, you could go get yourself a boring Japanese
pretty cheap as well.
that would easily surpass 300,000 miles
You couldn't.
with little upkeep.
You couldn't get the
get
EK Type R because it just wasn't sold in a lot of places.
Boring car.
That's an import model. I'm pretty sure. Did you guys get these in America, the Type Rs? Because my understanding is the first Type R you got was the Integra, the DC2. Before that, you didn't get Type Rs. You got SIRs, which had VTEC but didn't have all the good stuff. We didn't get these. We didn't get these from the manufacturer. It was DC2s, DC5s. And then later on, we got the more boring Type Rs, the turbo ones. Yeah, not until much later, wasn't it?
That could also probably go past 300,000 miles, despite you beating the living crap out of it and potentially rival the very best supercars in the world.
A DC2 or an EK9 is not going to rival any supercar in terms of performance. One has been engineered and designed with performance purely in mind. The other is a modified Econo box with some fun bits attached to it. They're never going to match up.
$1990 with the Honda/Acura NSX. This was one of the most legendary sports cars of all time, and it really helped to kick off this era of Japanese sports car development. Over at Mazda, we saw iconic models like the Miata kind of revive the great Roadster formula, and also the innovative rotary-powered RX-7, the much more tech-heavy Mitsubishi 3000 GT. I had a friend whose older brother had one of those, and oh my god.
3000 GTs, like, they never really got the respect that the other big halo cars of that era got. The RX-7, the 32 Skyline, the Supra, they all clocked it. They all people wanted those 3000 GTs. I guess because I'm trying to think of why, right? Like, at the time, for the money, you could just get a better car. There were better cars to get. 3000 GT it was like a big, fat slug of a car. They weren't really that fast. They were a real pain in the ass to work on because four-wheel drive V6 twin cam crammed in that tiny little engine bay. And yeah, it had a lot of like four-wheel steering and all that sort of stuff, active aero. You know, these are things made by Mitsubishi that aren't going to last the test of time, that you're going to have problems with them eventually. Whereas the RX-7 was like fairly simple. Most people just get rid of the twin turbo setup and go for a big single. Supra, again, you get rid of the twin turbo setup, go for a big single. Over-engineered, you can get, from a 13B and an RX-7, you can get 800 horsepower out of that if it's built correctly. You know, there's not a lot of moving parts in it, so it's not hard to build correctly. Supra, well over 1,000 horsepower. The Skyline RB26, 800 horsepower, easy. Probably, you know, that's more of a grenade engine. It's not going to last forever. But you can get 600 horsepower out of an unopened RB26. It's not a very difficult thing to do.
Supra and supercar killing Nissan Skyline.
That's also bullshit. The Skyline was not a supercar killer. It was meant to compete with the Porsche 911. And it was nipping at the heels of the Porsche, but it never really solidified itself as the better car.
Over in Japan, in the 90s, this pursuit of engineering excellence not only made these incredibly reliable sedans,
I like those GT4s.
It's the way it bled over into the sports car market that was maybe even more significant. Many of these manufacturers were pursuing legacy and brand recognition more than just revenue. Few of these incredible sports cars from this time were really cash cows. But what they did was show the world just how good they were at everything automotive.
You've got to remember the environment that these cars came out of. So Japan was in a massive economic bubble. They had money to burn. Their companies could just pour money into a huge variety of products. So you would have product segmentation that was so close together, almost overlapping, that it wouldn't make sense now, which is why they don't do it anymore. But they had the money and they could pour it into cars like this, and they did, and then the bubble burst, and they had to stick with what they'd already built. So that's why the RX-7, you know, it came out in technically 91, but really 92, and they kept it going until 2002. That's a 10-year run for a car. The Skyline, like the guts of it, didn't change all that much through the years. They beefed up the Ateza system. They gave it a quicker computer. It made the same. The engine was basically the same the whole way through. There's some minor differences, but wasn't a whole lot of difference. The Supra, again, like, what did they change? There wasn't a whole lot that they changed on it. And yeah, the 3000 GT, it just didn't even make it that long. They cut production because Mitsubishi had economic problems.
Create entire communities and cultures.
Oh, and the sad thing,
sports cars, and
that
also really
bubble era that birthed all these amazing cars will basically never happen again. It can't happen again. Because, look, Japan's not going to have another bubble like that. China had their bubble. What did they produce? Like, they've got like a couple interesting electronic cars, but they haven't really produced anything cool. So, yeah, this era of cars, like, I don't think we're ever going to get anything similar to it ever again.
An import scene. But Japan
I know
wasn't
where that
the
is.
only country producing incredible analog sports cars at this time. In America, despite a pretty significant wane in muscle car interest, the 90s saw a comeback, and for many a peak in terms of quality and performance, and fun for these iconic muscle cars, thanks to innovations in fuel efficiency and computer controls. We saw Ford not only massively upgrade the Mustang, it was also around this time that the Cobra variant was launched. The 4th gen Camaro and Firebird were faster, more usable, and way more aggressive looking. Without the significant advancements
I'd say we're at the top of that bubble right now. Their economy slowed down. You know, usually after rapid expansion, you will get a contraction of some sort. That's what defines a bubble. And yeah, China's had rapid expansion since the 2000s. So we'll see if they can manage it and keep it under control. But my gut says, with the way that the oil prices are going, yeah, China's going to be in some serious trouble next year. But, you know, we'll see. I'll probably be proven wrong.
Together. Over in Germany, a lot was going on at Porsche.
No, there are some Mustangs that are kind of cool.
All you need to know is this was an important strategic time for the company.
Like,
it really enabled them to push
the 3-valve V8 Mustangs?
And would bring about
I don't know which one it is, like the one after New Edge. It's kind of like a retro-looking type one. They're really popular for drifting. They're a really good base for drifting because you've got the power. Yeah, it's a heavy car, but everything's there that you need. And they're cheap. You can get them really cheap.
Of Porsche's greatest cars, the 993 and the Boxster, and we haven't even covered the great exotics from this time like the McLaren F1 and Ferrari F50. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am in saying that this was probably the best decade.
I reckon this guy's got a bit of nostalgia goggles on.
Sports car development. These cars had that raw sports car feel and experience. Despite having incredible innovations in terms of tech, that feel was still there thanks to a lack of driver aids. All I'm saying is that we should have stopped, at least in terms of technological advancement from this time on.
Is that the V12?
Sports cars,
yeah, that's probably the McLaren V12.
At least in terms of technological advancement.
The Mercedes unit that they built. Looks insane. It would sound pretty solid as well. Has it got... No, it's got what, like hydraulic lifters to like handle the valves? That doesn't seem like it should have that. It should have like a shim and bucket setup.
From this time on, because sports cars may have gotten faster and they may have gotten more powerful since the 90s, but they haven't actually gotten much better in my opinion.
Hang on. So he says the cars haven't gotten much better. By what metric?
That would be the case if we were...
In terms of track time, like lap times, they're a lot better. They absolutely crush anything from the 90s. There's no comparison. In terms of styling, well, that's subjective. It's not an objective thing. But you got to remember, the modern cars, they're ham-fisted by the regulations, so you're not going to get the same styling that you could get from cars from the 90s. But yeah, he's probably going to make a comparison to electric cars.
Going to talk about the Cybertruck. Instead, let's talk about some real trucks. The 90s was, in many ways, the peak of truck development. Not only did we get the very best of the square body Fords, and then of course the controversial but amazing 10th gen F-150, the Chevy CK line was, wow, perfection in every way, in every form. The 90s was what we could call the beginning of the pickup.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about American trucks.
The major players
I only know the Japanese stuff because that's what we got.
With more options. Trucks also diversified like crazy in the 90s. The basic truck could come in all sorts of ridiculous trim levels and packages. You want a convertible truck? Sure, how about a truck that could rival supercars from 0 to 60? We had performance trucks, small trucks, big trucks, and they weren't just American. 90s trucks were beautiful, simply but still uniquely designed, made for a purpose, and this was well before they'd become silly luxury toys that all look the same. Because of that, they didn't just do the truck thing well, they were easily customizable and cool, and they were actually affordable as well. Again, this was very much a transitional decade, which often makes for the best products. This was the time in between the older, much more basic but useful kind of work trucks of the 60s and 70s and 80s.
I think what he's trying to get at is the original formula was there from the 70s and 80s. And then it reached sort of peak refinement in the 90s basically before the accountants took over and kind of just squeezed their customer base that they built up with good cars for decades. They had that goodwill going for them, and they're just squeezing them for money. And that's when things sort of took a turn and quality dipped and features became out of reach and the car's longevity just wasn't there.
They were the right size, the right shape, and they did the job well while also being fun.
Visibility was better because the safety regulations now dictate that you need thick A-pillars, and they just block so much of your vision, you just can't see anything. But you need it for like rollover protection and just general crash protection.
campaign. There were more options
safety.
in terms of variety and more diversity, and there was just less of a culture of yuppies buying them to pretend that they're something they're not. Trucks were used mainly as trucks. Like sports cars, pickups have certainly advanced and their specs are better today, but that doesn't mean they're actually better as trucks. If you needed something that could tow 10,000 pounds, you could get something
Wasn't
like
a cheap truck back then,
Super
though.
Duty in the 90s. Otherwise, you could just get a normal truck for normal truck stuff. Unlike today, where every truck has so much capability, but they're just used to go to Costco. As a whole, we saw a push from the major manufacturers towards really diversifying their lineups in the 90s. It wasn't just
that's the thing as well,
SUVs,
litigation.
and trucks like it is today. If you wanted a van, you could
Is that Suburb?
choose
Oh, no.
from huge,
Voyager.
awesome, luxurious camper vans to smaller, more economical family vans. Today in America, we don't even get most of the
Yeah, you want to know
coolest
why
vans
you don't
that are
get
out
these? Because
there.
no one's
Just like
buying
we
them
don't get
anymore.
many of
People
the
just
cool
buy
trucks.
SUVs.
At this time,
It's and that was weird. I remember when the SUV push sort of happened. I was kind of late primary school, and you could see like some of the mums would start driving these Land Cruisers, like big four-wheel drive off-road Land Cruisers, and the reasoning was so stupid. They were higher up, so they felt safer. Were they safer cars? No. There were many conditions where it was actually a more dangerous car to have. And then this prevailing thought just kept going. And then it turned into an arms race where if you were in a small car next to one of these big cars, you didn't feel safe. So now you had to get a car that was higher up. And that's what led to SUVs just becoming the de facto car that everybody wants to drive. Because people feel safer in it when not necessarily safer at all.
though competition was the name of the game, and it really caused every segment to have a whole batch of unique.
Yeah, the Ford Explorer was horrible.
An SUV, you could get a big third
That
row
recalls
family
that
vehicle
thing.
like the Suburban that would just like
Suzuki.
run forever, or you could go get a small little
Yeah, those are
off-road
sick.
capable
With Sunraysia
SUV thing
rims.
like the Suzuki Samurai. Regulations hadn't outlawed all the fun stuff, and pretty much all of the big
Camry?
manufacturers
Yeah, it
were
is.
interested in trying to make lots of different vehicles. Now, economy cars peaked, trucks peaked, sports cars peaked, and in many ways,
I don't know. Luxury cars.
also
You look
were
at an
kind of on
old
their
luxury
way to
car,
peak.
and they are the
Today,
fastest
so many
thing to look
superb-
outdated because they had the leading tech at the time, and then 5 years later, it's not leading anymore, and it doesn't hold the, it doesn't stand the test of time.
Those luxury vehicles really cheap.
Oh, yeah,
out
the
when it
prices
comes
back
to the
then.
quality of materials. Not all of them, but many.
The
do.
inflation
Whereas in
that
the
we've
90s,
copped is
cars like
insane.
the innovative and
I remember
truly
ads,
luxurious-
you could buy like a brand new Pulsar for like 12 grand. I remember when McDonald's ran the first Monopoly campaign and the prize was a N13 Pulsar and they made it a big deal. And yeah, cars were fairly, I don't know, I would say they're cheaper than now. Like if you factor in inflation and having international manufacturers, cars are generally cheaper now. Or they were cheaper, but now they're going up in price because we've sold off our local manufacturing ability, reduces competition, and now like the international manufacturers can just bump up the price.
Yes, Lexus LS400 and Mercedes 500e, they really ruled. Luxury cars in the 90s used real thick
for
leather
sure.
that you could just smell.
Like
The
it was
Lincoln Town
rare
cars weren't
in
quite as fancy,
the
but
80s
man,
for a
were they
family to
reliable.
have two cars. Most people would have one car, and you know, to have two cars was a bit of a luxury. In the 90s, it became a bit more common. Usually, the husband would have like a work car or something like that, and then the family car would be at home. But then later on, people would just get two cars. And now it's like you're going to have, you know, probably tradesmen. They'll have like a nice ute, and that doubles as it'll be like a dual cab ute, and that'll double as your family car. And then there'll be like another car at home as well.
Even like the Japanese luxury cars were pretty amazing. At this time. I got to drive a late 90s.
They
Toyota
make those
Avalon
here, and
for
the
a few
Avalon
days
was a
while my
horrible car.
2015 Volkswagen.
It was built to compete with the Commodore and the Falcon, right? And both the Commodore and the Falcon, 6-cylinder rear-wheel drive cars. What did Toyota do? Oh, let's make a 6-cylinder front-wheel drive car. And it sold horribly, and nobody wanted it. And then they replaced it with the Orion later on. So I will never hold an Avalon in high regard.
Wagon Jetta was wrecked, and I couldn't believe how much nicer this car was.
Yeah, you consider it a good car because you're comparing it to a V6 Camry. If you compare it to a V6 Commodore or a V6 or a straight 6 Falcon, it doesn't hold up at all, and that's why they never sold well here. But we made them and exported them.
Had just gotten better since the 90s, when in all reality, I could have spent a fraction of the price on a 90s or early 2000s Japanese, like, upper spec car instead of my crappy, cheap, new $16,000 VW, and I would have also had a better driving, more reliable, more comfortable car.
They need to bring
that
that
back.
back.
This time we also
Screams
saw the growth
80s.
of the luxury SUV toward the end of the 80s and through the 90s. Comfort was
Hold up,
really
go back.
important to manufacturers at this
So
time.
this
Cars
model
got
right here,
so
this was
Comfort
the soccer
was
mum
really
car of the
important to
90s.
manufacturers at this
But
time.
it's still a very capable four-wheel drive. Still got your low-range gearbox, lifted suspension, quite like truck-like to drive, not very refined. And that's the one that kicked it off with all the mums wanting it. And then it sort of led to them going into SUVs when they became more commonplace. And the first real SUV that sort of got traction, it was the Honda CR-V. Was it CR-V? HRV. One of them. HRV or CR-V, one of them. And then, yeah, you had the RAV4, and you had, what Mazda eventually came out with, like a CX-7 and a bunch of stuff like that. Yeah, CR-V.
Cars got so much more comfortable in the 90s, even beyond just luxury vehicles.
Oh, that's
also had
hideous.
amazing, unique,
That's nice,
different colored interiors in the 90s, from the driver-focused cockpit.
I do like the
Supra
cockpit look
to the
of the Supra.
luxurious wood accent.
The RX-7 has
of
it a
the
bit too.
S-Class and BMW
FT.
850, and buttons, just buttons for everything. It was amazing, and interiors were not meant to cut costs, but to really create an experience for the driver and for the passengers that was intuitive. Today, manufacturers are doing everything to force as many
That
of
just
the
looks
controls
horrible.
into the giant
The whole
iPad
dashboard is a
simply to
giant
cut
screen.
costs.
Screen. It would look way more refined if they just scrapped all that and you just had like the gloss piano black look to it. Or just put something functional there, like more vents or easier access controls, because these touch controls suck. You have to look away, you have to confirm where you're going. You don't get the touch control that you get from like a normal radio where you can feel the dials, click the buttons, you know where the stuff is. It's a real step back what they've done with interior design.
And make it so that every fix for the car is just a software update. But back in the 90s, it was all about making the experience better for the driver. In the 90s, features that had previously been exclusive to luxury cars were trickling down to more vehicles, things like heated seats and dual climate control.
Heated seats are still
I'm not
a very
one who
luxury
necessarily
thing in the
considers
90s. Like,
the peak.
over here, like air conditioning was still an option. Power windows, power like mirrors, that was still an option. There are a lot of cars that it took a long time before all those things became standard, and then you started getting them. You know, now heated seats is an option. But back then, like, you're not getting a Corolla with heated seats. Most luxury cars didn't have heated seats back then.
Of automotive design language, despite the fact that these are the cars I grew up around. Now, for me, that award definitely goes to the 50s and the 60s. That old world level of craftsmanship and design had mostly been gone by the 90s, but cars from this era
isn't the
do
C4
have
Vet from
kind
the
of a
80s?
beautifully simple design language, left over from the 70s. Trucks are a perfect example of this. Sure, they'd changed, but for the most part, an early 90s F-150 looked basically the same as previous generations of the F-Series. Cars and trucks and SUVs didn't need to have little fake slashes to look aggressive. They were unassuming, and their performance for whatever task they were designed to do, whether that was reliably carry you across the country or tow a camper or drift through the streets of Tokyo, that performance spoke for itself. There's something to be said for simple design language.
Yeah, that's
done
due to
right.
regulations.
Today, every vehicle just looks like a blob, and of course, regulations are somewhat to blame for that. The 90s was really the last era of production cars in general being somewhat
I wouldn't say the
designed.
90s
And of
cars
course,
were interestingly
appropriately
designed.
sized. You know, they fit.
You look at the design language used in the 80s, and it stands out, and it's far more striking, and it's more... They took more risks with the designs back then. Whereas you look at the 90s, and they kind of played it safe. It was in the midst or post-economic Japan's boom. They had the bust, so they didn't have the money to burn on like fancy designs and stuff. And I'd say most 90s cars, they just have that sort of smooth, sort of rounded off look. Not a whole lot of character going into it. I'd say most of them kind of look boring. They didn't have just the excitement of cars from previous generations. I'd say the 80s were just, you had way better looking designs back then.
On the roads, here where I live in Tennessee, our back roads that weave through pretty much every town, 2 regular SUVs or trucks can barely keep from busting each other's mirrors off. And 90% of the time, those huge vehicles have 1 person in them. It's just entirely unnecessary. There was none of that in the 90s. Even the big vehicles then would be considered small today. Now let's talk a bit about safety. Yes, death rates per 100,000 people in terms of automotive accidents has dropped significantly since the 1960s.
It's starting to go up again. 2013 onwards, the death rate's increasing. So peak was around 2009, 2013, and so we've got a little blip here. And I would say, we've got better technology in the cars, we've got better cars. I'd say that's all down to the drivers. It's worse driver training and worse drivers on the road driving their cars.
With the increase in death rates over the past few years, by the late 90s, per 100,000 people, it had dropped to around 15 fatalities. Over the past few years, we've hovered right around 13 to 14. And that's with all of our advancements in terms of safety tech, lane assist, ABS, traction control, cameras. And guess what? The highest percentages of deaths was not in small cars, but rather trucks. This myth that we need to have the largest vehicle on the road to be safe is just crazy. Passenger cars, and especially crossovers, consistently beat trucks and large SUVs in crash tests. And we don't even have safety information on some of the largest vehicles on the road. If everyone drove smaller, less powerful vehicles like we did in the 90s, we would have...
Look how small that A pillar is on that car over there. And even this, the B pillar, it's like that. There's a limit to the amount of strength that you can pull from such a small amount of material. So cars made a huge safety leap from the 90s through to the 2000s. From sort of mid-2000s, you go like 2005, 2006 onwards till now, there hasn't been a big jump. It's all electronics, but the body and the chassis and the frame, that's where the big jump came from the 90s.
We would have less fatalities. It's pretty simple, because we would be able to see where we're going. This is a quote from nsc.org. From 2019 to 2022, the vehicle death rate increased 6.4%. Vehicle death rates are skyrocketing right now, and pedestrian death rates today are almost double what they were in the 90s. In many ways, the early 2000s was kind of an all-time low for pedestrian fatalities. And maybe around the 2010s was
but I can tell you why that is.
For just automotive.
It's the types of people that are driving on the roads. You have a whole bunch of different... You've got people that are coming in with a very low education on driving in the country that they're in. So if you grow up here, you've seen your parents drive. You understand a lot of the stuff before you even go for your test. If you've come over here from another country where they don't have that and they're very lax on their road rules and all that, of course you're going to have more fatalities. It's the level of the standard that they let people drive at here is way too low. They've got to bump it up, especially if you're coming here with an international license. You need to be tested to the same standards that we are, and it seems like those standards are just way too low. A good example of this is Germany. Germany have incredibly high standards for their driver tests. They don't stuff around. They make sure that you know how to drive over there. And as a result, they have fairly low road fatalities compared to other countries.
And sure, in the 90s, vehicles may not have scored as well as they do today in crash tests, but they didn't need to. Because
hey, Alex, how you doing, man?
Of everyone driving huge, powerful vehicles, America at this time was a little more like the UK. People drove small cars, and our big vehicles would be considered small today. And so accidents were often not as devastating, and your average sedan didn't need to withstand the impact of a 10,000
If the fatality rate spikes in Rocky, we'll know who to blame, Danny. So we need these strict tests. It's just how it is. Yeah, the walk's going good, man. I didn't really want to stream today. I had a couple things go wrong, but I figured every time I do, I feel better. So hey, let's give it a crack and see how it goes. And so far, so good.
On wheels, that is the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
And cars had decent visibility, and people weren't on their phones.
That's another thing. So I reviewed cars, and my daily driver is a 1980s Corolla. And I felt safer and more comfortable in that than I did a lot of the more modern cars with, you know, like the blind spot warnings and all the other tech that they have. Because there's just so much stuff going on that you've got to pay attention to. Whereas in my car, I don't have to worry about that. I just focus on driving, and I'm much more alert, much more aware of what's going on, and you end up being a safer driver because of it.
And if they did get hit, they had a much better chance of surviving. We could go on and on. The truth is, our numbers are not that much better, despite the fact that cars do rate so much better in terms of crash tests. I think the main point I'm trying to get across with all of this is that cars in the 90s had pretty much everything you could want.
They weren't all reliable.
Quality materials.
There were a lot, this is survivorship bias, there were a lot of cars from the 90s that were horribly unreliable. And yeah, people... They don't exist anymore. They're not on the roads. They all died. Like, those cars just got scrapped because they just didn't stand the test of time. So all the stuff that did survive was probably well maintained, well taken care of, and that accounts for the price because it was taken care of. It cost money to do that.
Could want, and by the late 90s and into the 2000s, much of the safety features that we have today, except for the ones that try to drive for you and, you know, the safety features that really only exist as a reaction to how much our cars suck, like having cameras everywhere because you can't see around you, or, you know, having the car take over because you're just not paying attention.
That?
I'm not saying there haven't been significant advancements in the automotive industry as a whole in the past 25 years. Of course there have been. But there's also been a whole bunch of unnecessary and even harmful changes as well. And in my opinion, this was the decade that cars peaked, and that's starting to show in the value of even average cars and trucks from this era. But if cars were so great and there was so much to like and car culture was booming and sales were at an all-time high, what happened? Well, the truth is many things happened.
There's
things that seem
hideous looking body kits here. Like, I think that's a Prelude, judging by the headlights. Kind of hideous. That Civic, that front bar is just disgusting on it. It's probably, yeah, man, the late 90s in terms of body kits and like aesthetics on cars were very lacking.
Seem separate at first, but are also somewhat intertwined. First, you can't really talk about changes in automotive design and development over the past few decades without mentioning the CAFE standards. As the 70s got underway, regulators realized that there was a problem. Big, honking American cars were using up way too much
72
gas, and there
OPEC
was a
oil
shortage at
crisis.
this time. So the CAFE standard, that is the corporate average fuel economy standard, was created essentially to penalize automakers.
Like, I actually
who
support
weren't
this.
able
Like,
to
yeah,
get their
okay,
cars to
gas
meet
was
specific
cheap.
efficiency.
Still a limited resource. You should probably do your best to make it as efficient as possible. And that's where a lot of the development went in terms of developing engines. It wasn't so much on how can we get more power out of the car, how can we make the engine more refined. They kind of knew already at that point, like, okay, we can run boost, we can just turbocharge a car and get more power out of it that way. We can run higher compression, we can have a larger displacement engine, etc., etc. But then the push for just getting better fuel economy out of it, yeah, I think everybody benefited from that. Like, even my engine in my car, I'll get on a highway or a freeway, I'll get about 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is pretty good. And then just normal driving is about 10 liters per 100 k's. And if I drive a little bit more conservative, it's quite a bit less than that. And that holds up to like a lot of modern cars. A lot of modern cars will get similar amounts. My mum's Toyota Yaris would get 10 litres per 100 Ks. And it's got an engine in it. It's like 20 years newer.
But light trucks were of course exempt from this, so cars
I don't know your units, man.
At some point in the 2000s,
for economy,
manufacturers figured out that they could just turn everything into a light truck,
like,
whether it's an SUV,
what do you guys use?
Or a van,
you use
or a crossover, or an actual truck. And now
it's like miles per gallon, something like that. It's a really hard conversion to go litres per 100k to miles per gallon. Because I know litres per 100k, that's easy. So my Celica would get about 12 to 15 litres per 100 kilometres. So what would that be? That's like 4 gallons per... What would you say? 4 gallons per 60 miles? So that would be like 1 gallon per 15 miles. So 15 miles per gallon is what my Celica would get roughly. Not an accurate conversion, it's just off the top of my head, but it'd be around that.
Some 80% of all vehicles in the US fall under this category of light truck. So instead of actually making
this is a loophole.
More economical
this is a regulation
cars
loophole.
Like we were in the 90s, today it's just all trucks as a way to get around the CAFE standard. And this coupled nicely with exactly what we said about Honda and Toyota sales. Virtually every major manufacturer has dropped in total sales.
That's because smaller manufacturers are eating their lunch. You've got all the South Korean cars. They're making a pretty big dent in the markets outside of Korea. And then there's Indian cars and Chinese cars. The electric ones, they're hitting into the budget section and budget electronic section, or budget electric car section. Plus people are broke, so I don't think there's as many people buying cars as there used to be.
Making larger, more luxurious oriented vehicles, but they can sell less product and make more money doing so. So for you, sucks to be a first-time car buyer. There's just not much available. Better get ready to spend more than your yearly income on a vehicle. This and the EPA regulations.
You want to blow your mind?
Small trucks.
Look at the retail price of a Chinese car in China, and then look at the same price anywhere else in the world. The taxes and just, I don't know, like tariffs, all that sort of stuff just push the price through the roof compared to what they can get away with over there. Like, for me, I'm thinking electric car, you're not getting anything electric for less than 45 grand Australian. And that's bare budget minimum. In China, you can get, like, similar car, and it's going to be about 10k. 10 to 15k. It's just amazing how cheap they can do it, because they don't have the taxes and the regulations that we do.
You
have a chicken tax?
They don't and really
How does that work?
Meet the standards for fuel economy, but these huge gas-guzzling SUVs.
Is that so they can tax the Amish as well?
Because they're just bigger. And if your car's bigger, it doesn't have to meet as many standards. And so most manufacturers are just not interested in making the kinds of cars that we had in the 90s.
Yeah.
Cars don't look the same as they did in the 90s.
A rusting chassis, I would say look at any 2000s Nissan. They didn't do a great job of rust-proofing those either. They have a lot of problems. Like, even just 20 years later, there's a lot of those cars that have some serious rust problems. Even when they were taken care of. 40%.
The era we live in now, which is the era
of that's to protect the local market.
From an Accord to an Outback, I mean, these vehicles look almost nothing like their predecessors. But if you're going to make less...
Like, get this, over here, we have a luxury car tax, right? To protect our local market that produced luxury cars. We don't have a local market producing luxury cars anymore. The tax remains. Like, taxes rarely ever get pulled, but they just continue to add and add to them. So, like, even the purpose of the tax, there's no purpose for it anymore, but they're still stinging people for buying luxury cars.
have more features, right? And so taking off with an idea that started in the 90s, really, cars have become
they love their money, but they love our money.
Touchscreens, cameras, front and rear and sides, and cameras under for some reason. Bluetooth, twisty knob shifters, you know, a car that will park itself.
Yeah.
All great, I guess, in theory, but in reality, it's just more crap to go wrong. And sometimes it's not actually.
He's right.
And so
there's a reason luxury
as
cars
ever,
depreciate so fast.
Vehicles, but with
and it's because they're full of so much tech. When it does go wrong and it is out of warranty, the cost to replace those parts is through the roof, because the only place you're getting them is from the manufacturer, and they don't sell that stuff cheap. Whereas you get like a non-luxury car and it's more bare bones, there is less stuff to go wrong. And with modern cars, there's so many little things in them that can go wrong. And I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. So you have a small crash, like you're fixing front sensors, radar sensor. You got to do like your front bar. You got to do the reinforcement bar. You got to do probably the radiator, all that sort of stuff. There's just more things to pay for to fix if something goes wrong, and more things that can go wrong and will go wrong.
Vehicles and tackling new problems that they've never faced before as cars are becoming more and more tech heavy and complicated. Also, there's a trade-off for increasingly better economy from things like direct injection. Some of these things are actually bad for your engine's longevity. Again, the middle ground between older carbureted cars and what we have today is really the best. Good old-fashioned fuel injection.
I don't agree with him there. I think direct injection is way better. You can run higher compression ratios, you can get more power out of the engine. It's easier to control the spark that's going on inside the engine. You're less prone to knocking. See, what he's doing now is just talking with rose-tinted goggles. Like, nobody thinks carburetors are better than any fuel injection system. The worst fuel injection system is still better than the best carbureted system in terms of economy and drivability. Maybe not in power, but that's a different thing.
In many very tangible ways.
You don't like it?
The goal for manufacturers today seems to no longer be
what causes
to make
the issues
cars.
with a direct injection setup. Because there are plenty of good direct injection setups that have been done well. Like a Mazda with, what do they call it? They've got Skyactiv. Their Skyactiv engines are they hold up really well over time. I haven't heard anyone complaining about those engines from like the mid-2010s. 2010s onwards. They've had them up and running for a while.
Actual important car stuff decades ago. Now the primary goal is to sell you on something or a bunch of something.
I'm trying to figure out how though. Like, what sort of problems does it
really
cause?
Fun and crazy. The car is just.
I'd imagine maybe the injector itself could have an issue, but surely that's not a hard thing to fix and replace. You shouldn't have any issues with like the engine leaning out or running too rich or anything like that. Carbon issues, okay. Yeah, that's probably because there's another surface area for it to build up in. But I always thought that a direct injected setup, you get a cleaner spark. So there should be less. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, you're probably right.
You from A to B, and sometimes more isn't better, and I really believe that's true of vehicles. You know, a blender is a perfect example. The Vitamix is perfect. It doesn't need any more features. It's able to withstand daily use for years and years on end. Adding more stuff to it will only make it worse, because there will be more to go wrong, so just leave it alone. And in my opinion, a mid to late 90s Honda Accord or Toyota Camry, it's like a Vitamix. But most manufacturers wouldn't actually save much money today by making a simpler vehicle like that. In fact, most manufacturers have their factories set up to make every car have all of the most expensive features, so that when you do make a more simple car, they're pretty much just disabling
That's
those
more
features.
Of a modern thing.
You can see why that doesn't really save them.
When I was reviewing cars, so I reviewed from 2016 through to 2020. And I was always kind of excited to try out the cheaper cars because it was interesting to see what they took out of it compared to the more expensive models. And it was usually quite a big jump. The expensive cars, you know, you'd get like a nicer interior trim, so you get like more leather. more soft touch surfaces, you would get more safety features. You would get like, active cruise control or speed limited cruise control, or you'd get the blind spot warnings. And then you'd get like better sound systems and stuff like that too. And maybe sometimes you'd get like a better engine in the bigger model, but usually you get the same engines across the whole range. So back then, it was a case of what can you take out to make the car cheaper? But now it seems like throw everything in the car, digitally lock out the features, and then unlock them with a subscription. Or at least that's what they're pushing for. But I think that's not the standard at the moment. I think that's something that they're trying to push towards, and consumers aren't happy with it. So who knows if they'll be able to successfully do that.
And don't get me started on the fact that new cars make more money today from spying on you and collecting your data than anything else. Also, car culture has changed quite a bit since the
RX-7.
2000s. Car meetups and communities. In many ways, it all peaked at this time. This was before social media and before rich, non-car people ruined these kinds of things.
This is early 2000s footage. You can tell just by the type of camera.
Who could do the most ridiculous burnout. And it wasn't about hating on other people's cars, for having a different taste than you. Now, I'm not saying there aren't still positive, genuinely good communities, but as a whole, and especially in the performance world, car culture has gotten pretty toxic. I want to end this, though, on a positive note, by going through some of the great 90s vehicles I've been lucky to either own myself or that my parents owned. First, an early 90s Plymouth Grand Voyager, or one of those Chrysler brands. I'm not sure which one it was. Anyways, that van managed to haul my gigantic family around when I was a kid, and also managed to save my mom and two sisters in a massive head-on collision with a drunk driver when I was really young. We also had some other vans.
That's funny, because the place I used to review the cars at, they were given a Chrysler Voyager to review, and it was so bad that the guy that was running the publication just said, look, we have nothing positive to say about this, so we're just not going to write a review. And then that was it. But that would have been like a 2014, 2015 model car. I'd imagine the 90s one would probably be built to a much better spec and better quality. Yeah, it reads with a lot of rose-tinted glasses and just not like long-term ownership of the cars. Yeah, Chryslers are not popular here. They never really got a foothold.
And a 98 S10 that ended up being my first vehicle. That truck was a manual with a 4-cylinder that made about, 20 horsepower. I loved that truck. It was everything great about a 90s vehicle. It had a deep, beautiful blue color, comfortable seats, a trusty, reliable little motor and transmission.
It's a convertible one too.
Mustang, like an idiot. I then wrecked that Mustang and bought a $900 1998 Chevy Monte Carlo that was an absolute boat and ran amazing, and then another 1998 S10. And for the most part, out of all the vehicles I've owned, the ones that weren't from
mind you,
gave me more
1997.
than the ones that were from.
But then again, I don't know how old this guy is. Like this could just be archive footage from someone else. It's probably not his footage.
All of these cars have memories associated with them, but I would love to hear from you guys.
That is a weird looking car.
What's your experience been?
The back looks like a Dodge Neon, but the front, I don't know what's going on there. Is that an SRT4? Because my sister's first car was a Dodge Neon, and it was a piece of shit. God, that was a bad car. She could have bought anything else, and she chose that. Sunfire, right. Does it share the same chassis as a Neon? Because the back definitely looks like Neon-ish. But yeah, not a... bit of a weird looking thing. Cavalier, right. Yeah, we don't get them, so I just don't know.
Was this really the best decade for automotive development? I would love to hear from you. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and we'll see you
in the next video. That guy
Drive safe.
He's talking through nostalgia. I think the reality of a lot of these older cars, you can see it on the roads today, like how many old 90s cars are still around. Not a whole lot. A lot of them have just been scrapped. If they were so reliable and so great, there would be more of them. The survivors that have stuck around are the cars that people had an emotional attachment to, or cars that were cool and then people wanted later on, so they bought them and kept them and maintained them. and that's why they're still on the roads. But if I go, you know, you can even see whenever I ride my bike around town, you can see how few cars from the 90s are still on the roads. It's all, even stuff from the mid-2000s is like, it's looking old and run down, and like you said, like beta cars, like they're out there now. The 90s stuff is being kept and cleaned and maintained, and people are turning them into projects and fixing them up. But yeah, I don't know, I don't think I fully agree with him that 90s were the best era of cars. I'd say late 90s, early 2000s is when it peaked, and then the push for more tech integration into the cars and sacrificing visibility and sort of like the fun aspects of cars for safety, that kind of took the fun off a lot of cars. Which is why there's not that many people that are interested in cars anymore, because what fun cars are there that are, you know, that people can get their hands on and have some fun with anymore? Used to be heaps, used to be tons of cool cars that you could get. But these days, like, your budget's not going to let you get anything cool. Anything fun's going to cost a fortune. Yeah, GM, he definitely, you know, it's the nostalgia, it's his memories saying that GM are good. But I don't think he's had to go through the whole process. He probably just paid someone to work on the car, and that was it. He's just like, yeah, not my problem, someone else's problem. I'm sure the mechanics of the 90s, they would have a very, very different opinion of 90s cars. The front CV axle, let me guess, you have to drop the whole engine. Oh, yeah. Yeah, whereas, like, on a front-wheel drive Toyota, you'd probably just, like, take the wheel off, undo it from both ends, and pop it out. And it would be designed so that it's a fairly quick and easy job to do. Oh, man. Hang on, let me check. How long have I been on here? I've been on here for 2.5 hours. I might wrap it up. Let's see how far I've walked. I have done 6.3 kilometers. But yeah, that's not very far for two and a bit hours work. Or not work, but 2 and a bit hours of walking. Alright, give me a sec. I'm gonna go over here. I gotta log in again. It's so annoying. Every time I switch to this old app to change scenes, I've got to log in again. There we go, it's me, and I'm big, and I can stop the treadmill. Oh, yeah, I'm stuffed. I think we're going to raid out. So let's have a quick look and see who's on. Hang on, before I do that, I can stop this laptop from streaming. And now I've got a quick laptop again. Now it's actually easy to do. So who's on? Who can we send everybody over to? Because there were a few people on when I started. Let's raid AGC TV. He's pretty sick. I believe he's in Singapore at the moment at some like anime manga convention. So what this guy does is he takes photos of cosplayers and he runs an Instagram account and he just goes to conventions all the time. So he's a pretty good photographer. He's got nice editing. So if you want to learn about portrait photography, this guy's actually pretty good to learn from. And he's just a nice, friendly dude. So let's go head over to him and we'll raid him. If I can remember how. I was going to bring my stream up and do it from there. There we go. So we'll go... I hope he's not quitting soon. He's usually on pretty late. You see... Oh, hang on. Raid AGCTV. Spelt that right. There we go. It should be going. And I can see it's going. So yeah, stick around. This dude's pretty cool. He's usually got some interesting content. He travels a lot. He, you know, he's in Singapore at the moment, but I've seen him in Taiwan. I've seen him in Korea. I've seen him in Australia. He's been to Japan. He goes all over the place. And yeah, when he's not at an event, he'll often just check out some stuff in the city. He's big into card trading games and stuff like that too. Let me just put that on. Anyway, I'm gonna go shower up, grab some food, and yeah, maybe relax a little bit. Oh, it's so weird hearing myself. Do, 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 do.